This lesson is going to take you through the things that you need to know for the Color Pencil Bootcamp. So if you haven't watched the video and gotten your page set up, go do that first and then join me here. Throughout this video, I am not going to complete the entire boot camp. I'm going to get you started on the areas. However, as you are working, you should pause the video, complete the activity before moving on. So you need a set of colored pencils. You probably need a pencil sharpener. So I am using right now what is called mapped color pencils. It's a pretty good budget color pencil set. You might have the Blick set of colored pencils. You might have Crayola. If you're really extra special, and you might have a set of Prismacolors. So no matter what set you have, you are going to be able to successfully apply colored pencil by paying attention to your pressure. So what I'm going to do is just show you the techniques, and basically this whole activity is about color mixing and controlling the pressure. We're going to be using some vocabulary that you should know by now, and if you don't, I'm gonna talk through them again, but that will help you as far as knowing what to do in what area. So the idea with colored pencil is that we use really light layers to build up more solid covering in areas. So for this first one, flat value means it is an even covering across the entire space. You are going to pick 3 colors. Now, it's not really that important what colors you choose. I do suggest you choose colors that are not all next to each other when you kind of line them up in rainbow order. So if I was going to go line these up in rainbow order, I might do something like this. So I'm going from red to orange to yellow, to green, to blue, to violet, to black. Maybe my brown is in here somewhere. So whatever you do, don't just choose 3 that are all next to each other like these 3. You can choose 2 that are next to each other and then 1 that's kind of completely different. You can use black if you would like. If your set has white, you can use white and pink. That doesn't matter. They don't have to be just color wheel colors. And we're going to kind of get to the color wheel later. So for me, I'm going to choose violet, I'm going to choose yellow, and then I'm going to choose red. Another thing you might pay attention to, although you don't have to, is to pick at least 1 or 2 colors, like a light and a dark. So that's not just all the same value. And if you can't tell what is light and dark, basically yellow is the lightest value we have, and then violet or black is the darkest value. So I am going to be starting flat value. One thing, when I hold my color pencil, I'm kind of holding it far away, and I do want to color with the point of the pencil. So I don't want to be doing the side of the color pencil. Colored pencils are a lot easier to shade with than graphite because they are very smooth and they're very soft. So the first thing I'm going to do is take whatever pencil, just one of my colors, and I am going to very lightly start applying it in this box. Now the reason I have you draw shapes or boxes is because I want you to start to practice craftsmanship now. Whenever you color in an area, you should be trying to go exactly up to the edges and not have any parts go over the edge. You need to be able to control your color pencil. So right now I have one nice layer. I did not press very hard. Please don't just like mash your color pencil into the paper. I want you to use this light layering. So there's one layer. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a second layer, and I'm going to go at a different angle. So I was going up and down. Now I'm going side to side or at a diagonal. I'm again getting all the way up to the edge. So just like we did before, if you did it with me, the line assignment or the line project, we are learning how to control your art materials. So there, 2 layers, maybe 3. It is even, which means when I look at it, I don't see one area that is darker or lighter than the other. So go ahead and complete the rest of those with the chosen colors and pause it until you're finished. When you are finished, unpause it and join me for the next step. All right, I am done with my 3 flat values. They're 3 different colors. They're not all right next to each other on the color wheel. And I tried to make them so that you can't see any pencil lines using light layers. So now I'm gonna start mixing these. So I want you to think about this as if it is like stained glass or something else that's transparent like watercolor or even like 2 cups of Kool-Aid. So what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be taking these formulas and mixing those colors in that order. So I'm gonna take a layer of A, and then I'm gonna mix a layer of B. And in order for this to come out to be a brand new color, I have to start with a very light covering to begin with. So here is A. A is my violet. Again, it is very light. I am trying to make it so that I don't have any pencil lines. You can't see the direction that I'm shading. So at this point it is transparent, just like the watercolor that we did. Then I am going to go back and I'm going to put a layer of B on top of it. So this is my violet. Now this is not always going to make pretty colors. They're not always going to make colors that you like, but this is a way to expand your color set even if you don't have, 72 different color pencils. So I've done a second layer with my red. Now I'm going to go back to my violet. Now this flat color mixing area, I do want it to look like one completely new color so that I can't really see the difference between the 2 separate layers. Again, I'm using good craftsmanship, which means I'm getting all the way up to the edge. I'm using light layers to build up a more solid or opaque covering. There. I think that looks pretty good. It's pretty even. I have a nice red-violet color. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mix my A and my C in this. Now here's a hint or a tip for you, is that it will be easy to mix those colors together, or easier, if I layer my light color first. So if I put my light color down first, so for me that's yellow. Sometimes you can't tell what's lighter or darker, and that's okay, you can just experiment. So if I put my light color down first, and then I do my darker color, and I'm really babying the pressure. I am barely scraping the surface of the paper. And then I come back to my light color. So again, my goal is to make a brand new mixed color, just as if I was pouring 2 glasses of Kool-Aid into one. So if I had grape Kool-Aid and I mixed it with lemonade, I'm gonna kind of get a mucky brownish color. And that's okay. There are no bad or ugly colors. So there's my second. If you have the lightest color and the darkest color, these are gonna be the 2 trickiest ones to blend to make a new color. Now, if I had started with the A color first, which is violet, and it's darker, and I did it really lightly, and then I did my B color, I am actually going to get a different color mixture. So it depends on the order that I layer it, and it depends on the amount that I put in of each one. So I could actually make 10 different combinations of just these 2 colors, and I would get a new mixture every time. So you're gonna go ahead and complete the rest of these. You're gonna take B and C and mix them together, layering, 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 and then you're gonna do A, B, and C. So when you're finished with that, unpause and we'll start transitions. All right. I hope you finished all those. Clearly I did not, but when those are finished and you have those flat value color mixing, you're going to start on transitions. So a transition is a gradual fading of color. And we are going to do that in two different ways. We are going to do that with pressure changes, and we are going to do that with the different number of layers. So if you are sick and tired of pressing really lightly the whole entire time, that's fine. This might be a good activity for you. So you are going to choose 10 of your color pencils. So if you have white in your set, do not use white. Don't do it, okay? White on white, no. So it doesn't matter what order you do this, but for each one of your color pencils, you are going to do a gradual fading out to white paper. So the first thing I'm gonna do when I do this, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit to help you see. I am going to start out very lightly again, and as I move across, I am easing up on my pressure. And about 3/4 of the way across, I want to fade out completely to white. Now I am not finished. I told you I'm gonna use pressure changes, and I said if you want to press harder, this is the one to do it on. So now I am going to do my second layer with a little bit more pressure. So you can already see it's a little bit more solid, and I'm going to pull it across. Now when you press harder, you also tend to leave pencil lines behind. So we don't want that to happen. We do want this to be smooth. Okay, still I'm gonna go about 3/4 of the way. I'm easing my pressure, fading out to white. Now my last layer, I'm actually gonna switch directions. Again, I am using that harder pressure. You don't want to press so hard that you actually create an indent in the paper. So if I were to have a spot where I start to create an indent, then that's kind of a note to self that I'm pressing too hard. So I'm going in this opposite direction now with a third layer basically. And here's what I'm going to do in order to fade out. I am going to use a one directional mark. I'm kind of flicking really lightly. And I am quickly picking up my pencil. So that can be a way to help you fade out. If you are not happy with the way that looks, you can go back really, really lightly, baby it, and fade out to the white. Here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want this to be just one, let's say I'm gonna do it right under here. I don't want this to be press as hard as you can and then lift up and then you're done. Okay, I want this to carry across most of the box and then fade out to white. So go ahead and work on those 10 different transitions where you fade out to white. You're using pressure changes and you're using a number of layers, more layers down here, fewer layers down here. When you're done with that, you can unpause and join me for the color spectrum.